$5 that you can listen to, or 4 minutes of stuff.
What an amazing cheat.
The flat Earth.
Earth is flat.
Yep, that's absolutely true.
It flattens out.
Yeah. Flat Earth is flat. Earth is flat.
You have likely heard the phrase flatten the curve used.
So, of course, this black swan flatten this curve of this globe.
Spread, flatten the curve. We can on every level.
Flatten the curve. It's a phrase you've probably heard a lot this week.
Experts say it's all about flattening the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Good to hear that.
That it's flattening the curve here. So we've done that experiment many times.
Break and flatten the curve.
All-important curve. Magda Gebrselassie, CBC News.
As the U.S. is attempting to flatten the curve,
They did begin to start flattening that curve. Started to see the curve flatten. Unfortunately, that's when the blue line starts to take off. Then they could really start flattening the curve. But these models assume we do more than we're doing right now, Morgan and Carl.
Wow.
And myself say many times that we need to flatten the curve, or plank it. Well, when we talk about the curve, we're talking about the number of people who get it. That's why we need to flatten the curve. Together, we can and we will.
And flatten it over a period of time. Everything falls apart. We can continue to provide everybody for resources and
flattening the curve.
Even when I started hearing flatten the curve about a week ago, it took me a few times to figure out what it all meant. Now, the idea behind flattening that curve, and that's where flattening this curve comes in, and that's why you keep hearing about it.
Last week and a half, we have seen a flattening of the curve.
They see little chance of bending the arc by Easter.
I do.
This 1 week increase, they include Idaho.
I do.
Talk about bending the curve. These arrows are heading up. This is the point about bending the curve.
Imagine a region, a state, a couple of states that could do it, but the problem right now.
Significantly flatten the curve.
We will pay. Depends on what countries do.
I do.
Health systems that we recommend. A system to find every suspected case.
I do.
Been funding for some years actually to do modelling as a risk of people travelling to Australia to understand that these models are highly theoretical than Australia. Can we have the next slide? So as the Prime Minister said, we are flattening the curve, but complacency is our biggest risk. And they are now doing real predictions. This is a horrendous scenario. It's not real. Mr. Lighthizer. We discussed their plans. My ministers and I have been in constant contact.
And so our statement will reflect that, and we will spend the money. We'll spend the money that's necessary to make sure those things are protected.
Obey the rules.
Hi, talking about flattening the curve and talk to us about what flattening the curve means and kind of explain that to us.
Absolutely. Do you mind if I draw a little bit?
Sure.
Okay. Let's get that up. So this is a really important concept for the healthcare system. And our hospitals and ICUs are normally full of people who have acute conditions that need care.
I do.
During an epidemic, those patients are still there, and yet we have all of these new patients. And we need to do everything we can as a community to avoid overwhelming an already busy healthcare system.
Yeah, so if you were going to give some examples of what people can do to practice social distancing.
There is a black hat on the field. Takes it all the way in. 42-yard touchdown. Who's got cat corralling skills in them?
I mean, look at his change of direction.
He's got great lateral movement.
Oh, my goodness.